Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living on this little bit chilly, beautiful, rainy day. So glad that you decided to leave the comforts of your home and come to the comfort of this amazing sanctuary and be with everybody. Welcome to those of you that are at home that have invited us into your homes through the technology of live streaming. I'm so grateful that you're tuned in to us today. Thank you very much. Is there anyone that's here for the very first time? Yay, welcome. There's a hand up in the back that should not be up. So, for those of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Reverend Dusty Ripplemeyer. I am the senior minister of this amazing community. We are a community that teaches and preaches and practices the teachings of the science of mind. We are part of a larger organization called Centers for Spiritual Living, of which there are some 700 of them or so across the globe. And we believe that there is one God, a God that is within us and surrounding us, a God that is benevolent and eternal and always available to us. And we believe that there is a power for good in the universe, and we can tap into that in a way in which we then participate in the creative process. God created the heavens and the earth, and through our oneness with God, we are able to create the experiences of our lives. And that's the good news. It requires that we become a little more responsible for the experiences of our life, but it's the good news, because if we don't like the experiences that we are in, we can recreate them. We can change them. Change your thinking, change your life.
The reading for today is from Ernest Holmes. He says, "Man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If I keep saying to myself that I cannot do a certain thing, it is possible that I may end up really becoming incapable of doing it. On the contrary, if I shall have the belief that I can do it, I shall surely acquire the capacity to do it, even if I may not have it at the beginning."
Welcome to those of you who may have just arrived in the sanctuary. The theme for the month of January is Living the Science of Mind, and my talk title is Thinking Affirmatively. I hope it's a good talk. I guess I think it's a good talk. No, wait, I actually believe that it's a good talk. I have faith that it's a good talk. In fact, truth be told, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it is a great talk. A talk that will probably, in all probability, knock your socks off and twirl your skirt if you're wearing one. I know that there is something within each of us that energetically already understands what I'm talking about. That there is something within each of us that is vibrating with the energy of peace, because there is no doubt, there is no worry, there is no confusion, there's an absence of wishy-washiness. I know that there is something within us that is vibrating with the energy of joy, because there is clarity, there is assuredness, and there is conviction. I am talking about thinking affirmatively. Can you see, can you feel what I'm talking about? Amen. Woo! Amen. Let's go to lunch. Now, as with many words in the English language, this word, affirmatively, has many meaning. One meaning is to be positive. So when I'm talking about thinking affirmatively, I am talking about being positive rather than negative. I am talking about living from a context that says that the glass is half full rather than half empty. I am talking about thinking with optimism rather than pessimism. Often in our culture, we talk about speaking this way or thinking this way as seeing with rose-colored glasses. And this is very often not looked upon very favorably. In race consciousness, this idea of seeing with rose-colored glasses is often thought to mean that someone is not looking at reality square in the face, that they are somehow making it a little sweeter or a little lovelier than it actually is. Now, it is often said that seeing through these rose-colored glasses is for the naive, or for the weak, or for the optimist to a fault. Now, affirmative thinking is really a mental and emotional attitude of expecting good and favorable results, expecting them. And then about not getting disappointed or discouraged when plans don't go like we think they should or like we expect them to. Now, affirmative thinkers do not let anything negative affect their underlying state of mind. Affirmative thinking doesn't mean that you keep your head in the sand and ignore life's unpleasant moments. It simply means that we just approach the unpleasantness in a more positive way. We look for the good and the positive in every situation and not the negative. We look for the gift in the experience or the lesson in the circumstance. We see beyond the world of appearances, beyond the veil of our perceptions, to what is behind that, to the spiritual truth that is behind that, and then we act and we respond from that place, from the truth, the spiritual truth. Now, science of mind, or metaphysics in general, is not a Pollyanna philosophy. It is not asking us to be foolish or to be blindly optimistic. What it does say and what it does teach is that we have a say in the matter. We have a choice. What it does teach is that things will not be all right until we make them so by right thinking or by right seeing. The truth is that learning to see the good in things doesn't mean you're putting up blinders to the bad experiences or the bad things in life. The higher good embraces both of them. It is a wholeness. Sometimes we have to have the contrast to really be able to appreciate the really good things in life. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, it could be enough for me to simply say that one of the foundational principles of the science of mind teaching is that we believe in the eternal goodness of life. We believe in the eternal goodness of life, that God is good all of the time, and since there is only God, there is only good. Sometimes this feels like it might be a hard idea to swallow. But the truth is that if God is everywhere at all times and God is only good, then good has to be everywhere. You can't have a little good over here and a little good over there, or a little God over here and a little God over there. It's God is everywhere or God is nowhere. We believe in the eternal goodness of life. It can really be no other way. Richard Rohr, the author of Falling Upward, says, God sees us through the lenses of steadfast love and desires us to see this way too. God wears the rose-colored glasses of steadfast love and invites us to wear those glasses too. These glasses don't try to shade reality to a more pleasant tone, but rather, like 3D glasses, bring everything into sharper focus, even a new dimension of seeing. Now, for me, the bottom line is that we live our lives from the inside out. that the lens through which we are seeing matters. It matters to what we see. That the lens that we are looking through matters to what we see. It influences it. No, so the question that we could ask ourselves is, if I am looking through the lens that God is looking through, that lens of steadfast love, that lens that only sees good, could I not see anew? If I'm looking through the lens that God is looking through, would I be able to see the glass half full in every situation? If I am looking through the lens that God is looking through, could that shift my experience of life and my way of being in it? Now, another definition of the word affirmatively is confirming or asserting the truth or validity or fact of something. To affirm means to declare positively that something is true. It is saying what is so, and then maintaining this as the truth, as the absolute truth in the face of all experiences, in the face of all evidence to the contrary. Now, each of us has many beliefs, many affirmations that we have about ourselves and about our lives. We have many beliefs and many affirmations about the world, about each other, about God, and about life itself. Now, some of those beliefs, some of those affirmations were given to us. Some of those beliefs, some of those affirmations, we created ourselves. And some of those beliefs we kind of adopted from race consciousness. Now, one more definition for the word affirmatively is indicating our agreement or assent. It is our yes to an idea, our yes to a project, our yes to a belief, our yes to a way of being in the world, and so on. It is our yes to the universe. What I am talking about when I'm talking about affirmative thinking is that we are always affirmatively thinking. That even in the face of denial, in that moment that we are denying something, our thoughts are actually affirming the presence of that which we deny. So we are always affirming what we believe in, always saying yes to what we consciously or unconsciously hold to be true. Always. Now, all this month, we have been talking about living the science of mind. Ernest Holmes says that there is a power for good in the universe, more powerful than we are, and we can use it. So we know that our thoughts and our beliefs, our affirmations, our feelings have power. We believe that the human spirit is one with the universal spirit, and that the Word of God is creative on the macro level, and because we are one with God, then our words and the thoughts and the feelings and the affirmations that we hold to be true about them, through them we create the experiences of our lives. Through our thinking, we set into motion a power that creates. Now, we don't create according to what we want. We create according to what we affirm. We create according to what we believe, to what we actually believe in. So if this is the truth, which I believe that it is, how can we powerfully use this power for good in our lives? How can we better cooperate with the action of the law of mind? Now, Ernest Holmes, in an article called Thinking Affirmatively, talks about three fundamental ideas for powerfully using this power and presence within our lives. Now, the first is that we are surrounded by a creative mind that reacts to our thoughts. In the Bible, Jesus said, "It is done unto you as you believe." What he was implying was that there is a power that can and will and must react to us. Can and will and must. However, this power has no other choice other than to react exactly as we believe. It can do it no other way. It only ever says yes. It is a law that works like all other laws without any regard to whomever is believing and why they are believing it. It can only say yes. So it receives the impress of our thoughts, driven by our beliefs, by the lenses that we are seeing through. It receives the impress of our thoughts and acts upon it exactly as we think. Ernest Holmes says, if there is a principle of mind that reacts to our thinking or to our belief, then it would naturally follow that if we say it cannot because we don't let it. If we say it won't, then it can't because we don't permit it. And if we limit it to a little good, it cannot give us a greater good. The power itself is absolute. The way we use it is relative. Now, the second idea is that we are thinking and active centers in this mind. The sum total of all of our thoughts is either silently attracting our good to us or silently repelling it from us. So it is the sum total of all of our thoughts that we must pay attention to, that we must consider, both our conscious thoughts and our unconscious thoughts. If we want to know what we are thinking, all we have to do is to look out into the experience of our lives, because the experience of our lives is always going to be an exact replica of the thoughts that we are putting into it. Now, the invitation is to do the inner work, to uncover those hidden beliefs, those thoughts and affirmations that we may hold to be true, because they are always working in coordination with the law, whether they're conscious or unconscious. So it would really behoove us to become more aware of the conscious beliefs and affirmations that we hold to be true, because they are running the show sometimes. Now, the beliefs that we have, the ones with the most energy around them, are the ones that will typically manifest in our lives. And if you think about it, some of the unconscious beliefs that we've had for a really long time, like it was based on a story or an experience that a 5-year-old little girl or a boy had, and something that they told themselves. And then it became a belief, and it became a context that we were living our life from, a way of living our lives. So you can feel how much energy that would have around it. So if that's unconsciously having its way with us, it's doing so because of all of the energy that's wrapped up in that. They are the ones that will really manifest in our lives. So it is really behooves us to find out what those are. Now, the third idea is that we can change our thinking. We can change our beliefs. We can change our affirmations. We arrived on the planet with free will, and that means that we can change our thinking, change our beliefs, and change our affirmations at any given time. Every new day can be a new moment to choose again. The mind that created those thoughts and beliefs and affirmations, in the first place, is the mind that is more than capable of changing them. Now, I know that we all love to talk about the practical side of life here. What can we do right here and right now? Now, this question brings me to affirmations themselves. Now, an affirmation is a positive statement asserting that the goal that the thinker wishes to achieve is already happening. It's a statement that says something is happening right here and right now. Now, affirmations are effective tools for training our thoughts and beliefs in regards to what we want and wish and desire to experience in our lives. I encourage each of us to make them an important part of our spiritual practice. They are that important. Now, to write affirmations which are effective and powerful, the invitation is to make them personal. Begin with I am, or I know, or I affirm, I declare. Write them in the present tense. It is happening right now. It is not going to happen sometime in the future. It is happening right now. Use active language, verbs that indicate action. Use feeling words, words that induce the emotional experience that you wish to have. Keep them short, one sentence, easy to remember, easily repeatable. Maybe I should read that to myself so that I remember that when I'm writing the ones we do on Sunday. Short, one sentence, easy to remember, easily repeatable. Got it. I got it. Use words that are important to you. They have to do something to you. You want them to evoke the appropriate experience and feeling within you. Not somebody else, but within you. Be specific and refrain from outlining. State the what, but leave the how out of it. State the what. If your affirmation doesn't feel right, then just keep rewriting it until it does. There will be a moment when it'll just clunk. And you'll know, oh man, that's it. Sometimes it's a subtle change of a word here and there. Harmony from peace, serenity. It just lands on you a little bit differently. Now, after writing your affirmations, then you want to be able to use them in a way that really works for you. And some suggestions could include Post-it notes. Write them on Post-it notes and put them, everywhere that you're going to see them really easily, really readily. Repeat them often. Speak them enthusiastically and powerfully with feeling. Write your affirmations out repeatedly in your journal. I know the foundations class had an assignment over one of the weeks that just passed that they had to write them 100 times each day over the week. There's a few of you here. You could record the affirmation and then play it back to you while you're doing some activities around the house, or while you're driving in your car, or while you're just at that point where you're about ready to fall asleep. Now, another idea would be to visualize yourself in the experience that the affirmation describes. Mary Mann Morrissey, in her Prosperity Plus work, suggests that you put on the coat of the person who already has the thing. Put on the coat of the person who is already in the experience that you want to experience, or that has the thing that you already want to have already. Be in the feeling tone of that experience. The stronger the felt experience, the greater the message is that is placed into the action of the divine creative process. The greater the feeling tone. The feeling tone fuels that process. Now, you don't have to raise your hands or anything, but then, while we know that it's happening all the time, You know, those moments when you're forgetting who you are and you say something like, I'm so stupid, I'll never get this. Remember that law? Yes, you are. So we are doing it all the time unconsciously. How many people have ever used affirmations consciously? How many of us have been really successful at doing that? How many of us are still waiting for our manifestations to manifest? How many have ever had the experience of speaking their affirmation out loud and then hearing a little voice in the back of your consciousness say, "Ah, what a joke! Never gonna happen." Affirmations are not a magic cure. They will not work for us if we have a belief system or we are living out of a context that really literally says something that's 180 degrees from what we're trying to affirm. That's, just in direct opposition to what we are trying to affirm. So if we affirm that we are whole, perfect, and complete, and we have a belief system that says that heart disease runs in our family, guess what happens? If we affirm that we are abundant, but we have a belief system that says money is the root of all evils, guess what happens? If we affirm that all of our relationships are filled with love and joy, but we have a belief system that says that we are not worthy, guess what happens? We are more often than not becoming what we believe ourselves to be. As Ernest Holmes said in the reading, if we keep on saying to ourselves that we cannot do a certain thing, then it is possible that we may end up being incapable of doing it. On the other hand, if we have the belief that we can do it, then we will surely acquire the capacity to do it, whether we had that capacity before we started to affirm it or not. Henry Ford said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You're right. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We have bought into a set of beliefs, and those beliefs are creating our reality, which is a good news because we can change our beliefs, but it's maybe not so good news if it's all happening unconsciously. So the invitation is to do that inner work, to find out what those beliefs are. Now, we may even find that writing these affirmations actually brings up for us some of these hidden beliefs, some of these untrue beliefs, and actually create an opportunity for us to be able to let go of them. So, for instance, if our response to our affirmation is, no, that is never going to happen, then we have within us a belief that is silently sabotaging our ability to create the desired experience. Now, the invitation is to ask ourselves, what is it that I truly believe right here and right now? Is this the absolute ultimate truth? The invitation is then to notice the purpose that this belief may have had and how it may have served you in the past. To be able to thank it. And then if we no longer need it, if it's no longer serving our lives, to let it go. Choose a new belief. Choose a new affirmation. The bottom line is that it is our belief system, what we affirm in consciousness, that is the key. our belief system, what we affirm in consciousness. So the invitation is to go back to the original definitions that we talked about and to view them in light of Ernest Holmes' 3 foundational ideas. So the first invitation is to affirm for ourselves that there is a power for good in the universe, a power that is greater than we are, a power that we can use to tap into to access our eternally available good. The second invitation is to affirm and confirm our yes to the universe, our yes to God. Because in truth, the universe or God can only do for us what it can do through us. So our yes is our allowing, our yes is our acceptance of our good. And lastly, the invitation is to be positive, to see the glass as half full, to see beyond the perceptions, beyond the veil of what our senses tell us, to the spiritual truth of who and what we are as spiritual beings, to the spiritual truth of who we are as divine emanations of God. When we think affirmatively and we speak from that truth, anything is possible. And so it is. So I just invite us to turn within. It is here with my eyes closed and my attention turned inward that I am acutely aware of the power and presence of God. The power and presence of that power that is greater than I am, that power and presence of that creative process. I know that it is eternal. I know that it is everywhere at all times. I know that it is an energy with no circumference and points of center everywhere. I know that I am one of those points of center, created by God, out of God, in a moment of divine love. I am its ambassador on the planet, its ambassador of love and peace and joy and creativity and abundance. And just as I know that this is my truth, I know that it is true for each and every person sitting here today. Each of us is a unique and divine expression of God. And it is from that place of unity, this deep and abiding connection through the golden thread of God's stuff that weaves itself through all of life, that I speak this prayer for each of us this morning, truly knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human incarnation, that we arrived on the planet with free will, that we have the power to create anew, that we have a power to change our thoughts, change our beliefs, change our affirmations, and to change our lives because of it. I claim for each of us today that there is ease and grace around stepping powerfully into this creative life, letting loose anything that stands in the way, knowing that it has absolutely no power when compared to the power and presence of God. I claim that there is a way of living our lives from the truth of who we are, speaking affirmatively, finding the positive, being optimistic, seeing beyond the veil of our perceptions to the truth of who we are. And I'm so grateful to know this truth and to speak these words. So grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes, that they are clothed in form even as they are spoken, and so I speak them and I release them with love and gratitude and complete expectation of their manifestation, letting go and letting God be God. I invite each of us to anchor this prayer for ourselves and for each other simply by saying, "And so it is." Amen. Thank you, everyone.